Morning, everybody. This is about take 5 of this reflection video because I wanted to try to do something visual to make it interesting instead of just me talking. But I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. First of all, everything went relatively well, I think, for the first operating session. I had some problems, but I'll talk about those as I get to them. In part 1, which was switching Cedar Heights clay right here, remember I had 2 cars that I was going to swap in, and I had 3 cars I was picking up, but I also had 2 cars at the front of the engine which were going on south. So that is going to cause a problem if I don't have the staging yard in place. But first, before I get to that, notice where the caboose is. It's way down there. Remember, I dropped that off at the north end of town when I dropped some cars here. What I think the real railroad would have done was, instead of waiting until they were completely done switching Cedar Heights and gone back and gotten it, I think as soon as they came back to the spur, they would have gone back and pulled it up through town, and they would have probably left it, up here. There's room right here. They could have left it, or they could have parked it over here. One way or the other. I don't think they'd have left it all the way at the end of town like that. So that's something I won't do next time. I'll go back and get it first. So Cedar Heights clay, again, I can't pan down as far as I would like here. I need to zoom out too. Okay. So right now the engine is perilously close to the edge of the layout. So if I was going to run it like this, I'd put it, if I had a staging yard, I'd put a nail right there or something so I couldn't run off of it. But if you remember, I had 4 cars here. I had 2 that were going to the south end and 2 more that were going to Cedar Heights. So that basically filled that up. So I had no switch lead. I had to use the staging yard as the switch lead. If I didn't have those 2 cars there, I would be able to be close. If I just had like switch out 2 for 2, I would probably be able to make it, because these are, for the most part, shorter cars. So right there's 3. It would be tight. 4 cars, I don't think I could do it. So anyhow, I need to have some kind of staging yard here in order to have a switch lead. But do I need to have a staging yard that blocks the door? Maybe not. So I want to talk about, I'll be interested to hear your comments about that staging yard. The main reason I wanted to do that is because I wanted the DT&I run through train. It needed to go somewhere to go. The Ironton Run DT&I. And I thought, well, if I'm going to do that, I might as well, have the B&O train go down and switch Nock and Sons and Firebrick also. So it works well. It worked no problem. Again, I'm interested to hear what everyone thought about manually switching the cars, if you think that added anything or not. But if I didn't want to do that, I've said, okay, I'm not going to have any south end business, and I don't care about the staging the DT&I train. I could put a little 6-inch extension here, maybe even longer, still be able to open the door and have enough switch lead to switch Cedar Heights clay. And that may be what I do when I'm running by myself, because if I'm running by myself, I may run the DT&I train to shoot a video of it to put on YouTube, but I probably won't do it, if I'm not shooting a video. I probably wouldn't ever run it, to be honest with you. So I may build a little extension here for when I run by myself, and just put the other extension up when I have a guest over, because that would be sort of a stress-inducing thing if I've got the guest switching Oak Hill and I say, oh, by the way, the dispatcher is called and DT&I train's coming, you need to clear the main somehow, and they got cars sitting all over the place. so I may do that, maybe a future project. Besides that, part 1 went well. So let me come back over here to part 2. So part 2 was, I've already put all the cars up, so sorry I can't stage everything for you. But anyhow, part 2 was switching Davis Firebrick. Yep, they stopped. Davis Firebrick. Remember, I had two cars that were down. Oh, I'll learn that one of these days. Had two cars that were down here. Two cars here to pick up, but that one car in the middle had to be respotted. I wondered later if I'd done it correctly, because I went up and got those two cars first, and then I came back. So actually, I put tabs with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on all the cars and reshot it. But this time I picked up the spur, pulled the spur first, and put them down here. By my count, I had the exact same number of moves. If you have a better way of doing that, if you think, hey, I got a way you could have done it better, let me know. Put it in the comments. I'll set it back up and I'll stage it again. I'll film it and we'll talk about it. Like I said, let's learn together how to do this. Sometimes I get in my head the right way to do something, and it's not always the right way to do it. I had a big problem in part 2 with this turnout. No problem at all in part 1, but part 2, when I flipped the turnout to go, this way, front truck just picked it and just went right on straight, and the rear truck took it. This happened over and over and over. It's the first time I ever ran the GP35 over here. The other engines don't remember doing that to it. I turned the engine around, did the same thing. I got out the files. I filed and filed. I filed the points. I put it over here and I'd file it and I'd run my finger. Is there anything there? Could not get it to start. Stop. So what I finally ended up doing was I put a piece of styrene underneath it. Never happened again. So it's going to need some more investigation, I think. I'm not wild about the microengineering turnouts. They just don't, they're not as positive of a, I guess, locking in place as the Picos. You guys probably hear me throwing them and think, well, they snap pretty good. What you're hearing is this scraping across the ties. They don't lock in place anywhere near as good as the Pico turnouts. So I love microengineering track. It's a quality product. Looks much better than the Pico track, I think, although I wish I'd gone with the Code 55. But if I had to do all over again, I probably would have stuck with Pico Code 55 on this too, and I wouldn't have had the problems of matching up track and things like that. Because I think the track in Chillicothe looks fine, and it runs good, and the cost isn't significantly different where one is super expensive. Part 3 was all I did was switch the scrap yard up here, and another thing about that, I've got a really, really cool picture. It's on Facebook. I'm going to ask the guy, he's got his name on it, and I'm going to ask the guy if I can put it on my video. It's of switching Cedar Heights clay, and they're blocking Route 93, and you can see the boom in the scrapyard in the background. So it's a really, really cool picture. Hopefully he'll let me post it. I already talked about the scrap load where I couldn't, shouldn't have put it next to the engine because, they were going to go 40 miles or 50 miles an hour or something like that. They'd never have a loose load like that. Overall, it went well. I'm pleased with the way it worked. Obviously, I have a ton more stuff I need to do over here before I can, I don't think you're going to see me operating it a lot, although every once in a while I may clean it up and run some switching on it. But I need to do all the buildings up in here. I've got some more stuff in here. I've got Cedar Heights clay I have to make. So the track's just going to be getting dirty. So, maybe, once a month or something like that, as I get something done, I'll maybe run a train on it or something. All right, I've talked long enough. It's almost been 10 minutes. So, anyhow, if you have any questions or comments, let me know. And everybody stay safe.